$3,200.
Roughly, yes.
Next time I went to court or I went to jail, it cost me a little extra because of the paperwork.
The bond was $2,600 that went towards the debt, and you still owe a little bit over $3,000. And you also made payments.
No.
No.
My husband was making payments up until
Yeah,
he lost his job.
Right.
Well, he found out that the gentleman had sold the trailer out from underneath him. He thought he was still buying the trailer. And when he found out the trailer had been sold, he quit making payments.
Yeah,
That's when he entered the judgment to have my husband brought into court and arrested because he didn't show up for a court date he knew nothing about.
Do you know what the trailer was sold for?
No idea.
no, I do not.
But it was sold then?
Yes.
Yeah, it was sold. And before it was sold, I still kept on making payments of $100 a month. And right after I found out he sold it, it's like, why should I still keep paying the guy? Because now I don't own the trailer. But I stopped.
Who was the creditor?
Danny Johnson out of McLeansboro, Illinois.
How long on average would you stay in jail?
Once he was there for a full week.
Then I was there
Most of the time, my brother was able to get the money out
about
within
a
24
couple
hours.
of days or a couple hours when I got out.
Is it reasonable to expect that you're gonna be able to pay your brother-in-law back?
No. There's no way.
Next, Flores. Thank you very much for being here today. I'd like to call Bill Hartman up to testify.
Secretary, Directors, I have given or offered written testimony. I'd like to stray from that if I may, not during this time. The short of it is, I'm a debt collector and I'm a debt buyer. I have purchased over $15 billion worth of credit card debt over the course of 13 years, and I've collected over $4.5 million individual accounts, all without it destroying anyone. So when I hear the stories I've heard here today, I'm appalled, I'm sickened, and I'm mad at how that this industry, my industry, the industry that I've been part of, is so abusive and so careless that it just absolutely does not put the human dignity into the equation at all. That I have been on a 50-state campaign for the last year, doing these kind of hearings around the country, making sure that people like you get to hear the other side of the story, that this doesn't need to happen, that this doesn't even have to be. And it isn't their fault, it's the collection and credit industry's fault for taking the easy way out. There is no excuse for suing people over a debt. And I say that not as some guy with goody two-shoes or somebody with a bleeding heart liberal position. I'm a debt collector. I've collected lots and lots of debt from 4.5 million people. I understand human nature. People will do what they can if you persuade them. If you give them an alternative and an opportunity, they will do the best they can, whatever that is, however little or however much. And suing them doesn't make them any more creditworthy, doesn't give them any more capacity, and eventually they run out of brother-in-laws or relatives from which they can otherwise get money. So your job, I would hope, would be to find a way to stop this practice. My industry is involved mostly in the credit card collection arena, not in the medical receivables nor in the trailer receivables. But in our industry, it is rampant for debt collectors to buy debt with as little as maybe the first and last name, little or no background information, no history, no detail, no data, and maybe that debt buyer is the 4th, 5th, or 6th purchaser in a long, steady succession of previous purchasers, which is a bit like the old telephone game of you tell someone, and they tell someone, and they tell someone. By the time you get to the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th someone, the story is not the same. The facts are not the same. The data is not the same. And some debt buyers have taken the attitude that it is too expensive and too burdensome to call and talk to people, that they would instead just sue them all and let God sort them out. We think that practice is as flawed as was the mortgage fraud problem a couple of years ago. And the attorney generals of all 50 states got together and literally brought it to a stop. a $19 billion settlement got their attention. I think it's now time that we do the same thing in this arena. That's my comment.
What do you propose happen, or what do you recommend to your colleagues in the industry for a debtor who simply has run out of money? There's just nothing there. They've moved into a nursing home, so there's nothing on the horizon. What do you do in those situations?
What we practice and what we then aspire others to do is to sign a pledge. And we have created a pledge agreement for the debt industry to not sue ever on a credit card debt, to not charge interest once a credit card has been charged off, to never call a customer, when we call them customers, more than twice in any one 24-hour period of time, and to never proceed past statute of limitations. And fifthly, never to resell an account to someone who hasn't taken the pledge. Now, I have already obtained, over the course of the last year, the signatures from 216 debt buyers around the country. So I'm actually from Canada. So it isn't a strange phenomenon. It is instead something that needs to be done. So if we don't sue, we don't have arrest warrants. We don't have hearing on assets. We don't have debtor persons. We're trying to stop it from the back end forward. In all due respect, I think it's not going to be a very effective or a very efficient process. I think instead we try to stop it from the front end. And we create a higher, deeper burden for people who are hospitals or trailer sellers or debt collectors of credit card debt. Make them prove up the debt. Change the burden back to where it used to be, innocent but proven guilty, not the other way around. Because the two stories we've heard here today, the role has been reversed. They were guilty until they proved themselves innocent and couldn't play forward to do that.
You had mentioned that it is the fault of the collection and the credit industry. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that in terms of how credit is extended originally? You know, what are the circumstances in which credit was originally extended?
And I can only speak to my area of experience, and that would be in the credit card arena. In the credit card arena, there are a dozen or so presently major players who will extend credit to either A credit or subprime credit based on their own criteria, their own credit quality, their own standard, or what they think the appropriate FICO score would be for them to make the decision. That process is relatively normal and relatively, we call it plain Jane, if you will. That is where the flaw is. Extending credit isn't the issue. It's how the credit then is trying to be, how they endeavor to collect the debt after it goes sideways. No creditor in their right mind extends debt or credit to people whom they know cannot pay. That wouldn't make much sense. Mostly in a situation where the circumstances change. Somebody loses their job. Somebody has a medical calamity. Somebody works at the Caterpillar plant in Peoria. You know, you don't have to be a bad person to be in debt. You just maybe have applied for the wrong job once upon a time. So when I say the credit arena, the institutions who sell debt know what's going on. And they need, in my opinion, to take some culpability for what's going on out there. So when credit card banks sell their debt to debt buyers who then do a bad, nasty thing, I don't think it should be a hall pass for the banks. I don't think it should be a hall pass for the credit issuer. I don't think it should be oh gee, I didn't know what they were going to do. Now maybe that story might have rang true once upon a time, but now we hear these stories every single day. These are not anecdotes. These are not exceptions. This sadly is the norm across America, and it really doesn't need to be stopped.
Right. I was just concerned about, you mentioned how credit card, your experiences in credit card debt. And is it fair to say that some people have been extended, have been given credit, who don't have the ability to pay?
They certainly have, and we all know from the subprime mortgage scenario, there was a time in America, not very long ago, 4 or 5 years ago, if you're looking at their calendar, where the credit standard was very loose. And because we, as a country and as an economy, were on the rise. And so I think with maybe wild-eyed degree of optimism, people lent money hoping it would come back in, and because when the economy crashed, most of it that did not come back in.
You mentioned, obviously this is your business, and you've taken a pledge not to put anybody in jail. And and you said you have 216 signatures. Are any of those in Illinois?
Yes, they are. There are other debt buying companies in the state of Illinois who have taken our pledge.
And so, but yet you collect your money without using this as a tool.
Yeah, and that's the whole point, that's the whole point of this conversation. You don't need to use this tool.
Right.
You don't need to sue people to become efficient, to become profitable, to have a growing business. You know, I mean, that's why you become, whatever you become, a plumber, electrician, or a carpenter, or a doctor, you want to make a living. Well, the debt collection can be a profession, and it can be done professionally.
Right.
It is when it's not done professionally that we all have a problem.
Well, I thank you for being professional.
You'd mentioned earlier this is your business,
Yes.
you're a business person, and you touched on it briefly, but from your perspective, the way you conduct your business, why have you chosen to not utilize the court system in the fashion that we've heard about today, and from a business person's perspective, not from a policy perspective? I'm talking, you gotta pay your bills, you have to pay your employees, any process you engage, I'm sure you've refined how much the process costs, and nothing's for free. You don't have to go into great detail, but sort of from a business person's perspective, what is the logic behind the way you're conducting it, and why you've chosen to not engage in, again, the types of actions we've heard about today?
Harvard Business School did a study on my business. And in that study, they quantified that I make more money per account than any other collector in the United States. That's not a brag, that's not me claiming to be smarter than anybody else in the room. It has not to do with intelligence, it has to do with how you treat people. I have now 4.5 million experiments, little petri dishes called people. So this isn't some sociological theory of, gee, let's try to be nice and see how it works. I've done it 4.5 million times. That's statistically valid. And Harvard has quantified my results, that this works better. So I make more money by being nice. I am a businessman. I am in it as a profit, as a capitalist. Call me other bad names if you choose to. But it's about a business. But it can be done properly or appropriately.
And it just more curious, how did you had to start off in the beginning, you didn't have 4.5 million experiments, I guess what led you, I mean, now you've sort of got the data to back up that it's, again, not from a judgment side, just from an economic side, this is for you an economic winner. How did, but you had to start the first step somewhere. How is it that you came to this realization and then backed up with data, hey, this is a better mousetrap, this is a better way to do it?
You could call it an intuitive process. I'm one of 8 children. My dad is a janitor. My mother cleaned up people's houses for a living. They were poor, they were destitute, they never made enough money to feed us on a regular basis. And when they suffered medical bills, they ultimately filed bankruptcy. As a child, I watched that. I saw it. Nobody had to tell me. I felt it. And then as I grew up and I became a lawyer, I started representing people in this category. This was my profession, to be in your chair to help people who couldn't help themselves. When I saw that the opportunity was also an economic one, that you could do what we're doing on the other side of the table in 1986, I borrowed $13,000, I bought 1 box of loans, I took it home, put it on my kitchen table, and I started calling people with no background, no experience, and nothing other than a theory, that if you treat people decently, most of them will respond. And some people tell me they're gonna help, yes they do. And some people yell and scream and call me bad names, and some people don't care. And our attitude is we let them exist, and we make enough money off of the ones who can, that the venture becomes profitable. You don't need to squeeze every single one. Therein lies the difference.
Thank you for sharing that, and I think it's the Harvard Business Study is interesting because those are facts about. I commend you for that.
Just a couple of things, Mr. Department, if you will, and if you have in advance to say thank you, but have you submitted a copy of that Harvard?
I have not. I would be happy to send that to Marion.
And then also the list, we may have it already, but if we don't, the list of the folks who have, the companies that have signed, the pledge? All of the companies, not just the Illinois companies, but all of them?
And we actually publish them on a website called bargainpledge.com, so all their names and their addresses are there.
Okay, and then any other materials that you think are germane, relevant to assisting the department and the governor's office in developing policies that would go toward fixing this problem?
I would be happy to get there. There are 3 articles, I'll share them with Mario. One is Peter Holland's study, University of Maryland, professor of law, that describes what we're looking at here as a $100 billion problem. So this isn't just an Illinois issue. This is a very large countrywide issue. There is also a study done by the New York Legal Aid Society that talks about 94% of people who get sued don't show up. Either because they don't know how, they don't know where, or they can't afford it, or they don't, it's not even them. Now, we've talked about people who said they owed the money. I can tell you thousands of stories about people who got sued who didn't owe the money, where it was a mistake, where it was bad data, where it was rolling down Smith, where it was collateral damage, and they still went through the same sad stories. Well, the New York Legal Aid Society details much of that also.
You know, Mr. Berman, I do have extra questions that pique my interest. And I know that you're in one area of credit collection, debt collection, but you've obviously been doing this for a very long time. You've obviously had some success, and you've faced some challenges along the way. Do you have an opinion as to why it is that you have peers in your industry